Hi guys, back to a Python video. I promised that I would go ahead and put a little bit more in our minivan, excuse me, in the minivan section to talk about maybe making it so that the seating, we could have people who are going with us and we could assign seating. So let's try that. I've got all of the information I had last time, and if you check online in Canvas, you'll see some of this code is there, and I'll post the rest of the code up there later. So we're going into the minivan section. So class minivan, it's extending the vehicle class, so it's creating itself from vehicle, and it's inherited all the objects and all the methods, all the attributes of, not objects, but attributes of vehicle. So let's go ahead and give it a method, and we're going to define seating, for lack of something else to call it, and I'm going to say people going with. So the people that are going with are who we're going to take with us. And let's put this down a little bit. We don't want truck to get encapsulated into our vehicle. So seating, let's make a, I'm going to copy people going with because I never spell the same thing twice. People going with is going to be a list. So I just made an empty list here with equals square brackets. And they're empty square brackets, even though they look like a box when you do that. Now we're going to say the names that we're going to get from our input from our user is who's going on the trip. I will do question mark and wrap that in quotes. And parentheses. So let's, just to check this out, let's print out. Sometimes it's nice to have a testing code. It's just a little check to see if everything's working here. So I'm going to say print people going with us. Oops, I'm doing owing with us. Going with us. Space, quotes, comma, names. And that should, oops, I did the save button again. That should allow us to enter some names and spit them back out so that we know it's working. So let's go ahead and check this to make sure it's working. I'm visualizing and I'm going to step forward. So it went through and it checked all the classes to see all the classes. It's now checking to see what are the different makes and models for each of the vehicle class inheritances. And print, we have an empty truck. Okay, so our gas tank is empty, and we have a truck bed. Yes, that's true. We're now going to do our minivan, which is a Dodge Caravan, and you can see over on the side, on the right hand side, the information is populating. It is going to fill up the gas, and we're going to say, hey, it was $35.10. And print my van tank is full. Okay, so I didn't actually call the seat part. So even though I have a seating, if you noticed, I never called it, so it never got instantiated. It never ran. So I'm going to go down and say they're mowing the lawn outside, and I'm catching the lawn, I guess. That's what my coughing is. I'm actually going to comment here. I'm going to go my van dot seating, and it's parentheses. Now if I did without the parentheses, we'd get my van dot seating, the attribute. And so it's really not a good idea to name things the exact same thing. And I should change these, and I will in a second, but I want to show you that with the parentheses it's a method, without it's not. And I'm going to go ahead and visualize it and run it. And I'm going really fast through it. That wasn't me fast forwarding, that's me hitting the clicker too fast. Okay, we've pumped our gas in our truck, the minivan. We've asked for seating. It's gone up to def seating. Well, that's because we did the parentheses, and parentheses means methods or functions. And since methods are just functions within a class, that's perfect. We've set a people list. We have an empty list. It says right here that there's an empty list. And it's asking who's going on the trip. How about Alex, Travis, Calvin, Charlie, and Sally. Oh, we'll do Brady. It's a guy's day out. It goes back and checks the code because it likes to do that. And if you see people going with, it created this nice little list. And if I scroll, I have an empty list, and it's going to fill in that empty list, who's going with on the trip, and we get everybody listed down here in our outputs. So that's not a bad thing to do. But that comes in as a string. I got the input, and the string came in as, you know, Travis, Calvin, everybody in one long string. I'd like them to be in the list. They're not in, currently, they're not in the people going with list. So let's go ahead and split them up so that we can do that. So we're going to say, I'm just going to put an extra enter. As long as it's indented, it's still part of the method. So people going with equals names.split, and I'm going to split on a comma. This is one of the methods. Hey, we know where methods come from now. The string class has a method called split, or a function. And depending on whether it's based off of an already existing type, we can already have these there. If you check on Python, it can tell you the different methods already existing for strings, tuples, dictionaries, lists, etc. So this should take our names string, split the names every time it sees a comma, split them up into chunks, and place them into our people going with list as different index spaces. If it were to put it, if you were just to say people going with equals names, we'd get one long string as the first index. So if we print people going with, we should see that it is now comma separated or comma delimited. And I'm also going to print the type of people going with. If you remember, the type function allows us to check and see what data type it is. And I'm just going to verify that really is the list I wanted. So I'm going to step through all the creation of the different objects. And we are now at putting the gas in the truck. My van.tank is full, my van seating, and we've stepped up to the van seating. It says people going with is now an existing thing. Let's say this time it'll be a girls trip. We've got Sally, comma, Jenny, comma, Alice, comma, Nancy, and I don't know, Harriet. Submit. And you'll see that that started to populate over here into an empty list. Who's going on our trip? It lists out our people. And then it says people going with us, Sally, Jenny, Alice, Nancy, and Harriet. And it's also going to say that the list, it prints out the list. And we've got Sally, comma, Jenny, and you'll see everything's in quotes. It now is inside brackets. It actually is a list now instead of a string. And it's telling us this is a class of list. So it did exactly what we asked it to, which is awesome. I like it when it does what I ask it to. So using that list, we now can use the indices or the index spaces to assign people to different seats. So the driver is going to be people go with at index 0. So the first person that gets in the car, we're just going to say the first person in the list is our driver. The front seat passenger is going to equal people going with at the second space. So people going with is a list. 0 is the very first spot or index in the list. And front seat passenger is going to be the second person or index 1. So index 0 is first, index 1 is second. Remember that when you count out a list, you may have 5 items, but it goes index 0 through 4, not 1 through 5. So let's check this one more time. And we'll execute it. And I'm going to step through really fast. Ding, 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 because you've seen this many times. So we get to where it asks for the people. Who's going on the road trip? Let's do a mixed group this time. It's Tom, Fred, Sally, Jenny, Lily, Abby. And that filled in as our list. We see that people going with us are the people we just listed. It is actually in a list, and normally you would not print that out, but we're doing this for testing purposes. It is a list, and it was not printed because I forgot to ask it to print those. So I will say that up here in my class, in my method, I'm going to say print the driver, comma, quotes, space is the driver, comma, space, quotes, and I'm going to copy that one, front seat passenger, paste, comma, quotes, space, so that we have a space between them, is shotgun. Period, quotes, end parentheses, and that should work. And if we run through this one more time, I'm going really fast for it. Now remember, you can go ahead and take and copy this code and put it in here and step through it just like I am. And we'll say, let's see, we've got Travis, Charlie, Susie, Megan, can't spell, and Fred. Random names that came to mind. And we step forward one more time, people going with us. We've got that it is a list, And Travis is the driver and Charlie is shotgun. So as you use methods, you can have multiple things going on. We've been able to use the passing between different classes. And let's see, we've got quite a bit of stuff that worked out really nicely for making a new object that extended 2 different classes and allowed us to take from vehicle and take from minivan. Minivan added a lot to the vehicle. It inherited from vehicle and then added its own things. And that shows you how the objects can be customized for their own use, even though you inherited from something else. So this is a really powerful object or concept to learn, and you'll be using that more and more. But I was hoping that this would show you kind of how it works, how it passes back and forth. Again, please ask me any questions if you've got some, and I will see you guys again. Please read the stuff on Canvas in the class, and I will talk to you later.